All right, you guys, welcome to another episode of Car Talk, where we talk about everything in the car scene, industry, culture, and community. I'm your host, Big Mike, right here with
Ryan Bossery from Rywire.
And today we are going to talk about two major industry events that Ryan and I were both a part of, except in this particular instance, it was individually. I was in the Midwest in Chicago. He was on the East Coast in PA and New York. And I would have been there with him if I wasn't doing the Midwest joint. But let's start there, okay? Let's start with Ryan. Ryan, let's talk about the event that you were a part of.
All right, so the event that I was a part of was a Turn 14 event. It was called the Drivers Project. And they actually did one on the West Coast, locally. They went to like Monterey, went to the racetrack, ended up in...
Super cool.
Yeah, they ended up where Las Vegas, did a car show there, and then kind of like circled around. So I actually hit up Daryl from Turn, and I'm like, TFTI, bro.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, well, if you're interested, maybe next time. And I'm just like, okay, well, whenever that is, right? So he messaged me. He said, hey, we got an East Coast event. And I'm just like, oh, boy, it's kind of far, right?
Right.
He's like, but we actually have a, enclosed leaving on a certain date.
Yeah.
And he said, would you like to bring your 911 out and basically drive, and we're going to do a whole thing, just say yes or no? And I'm like, yes, I guess, right?
I'm going to go ahead and add a couple things here. So, this is Ryan's 911 Gt3 Rs.
Yes.
For those that may not have listened or caught that in other episodes, Ryan has a 911 Gt3 Rs. And
what?
Packing up cars and just sending them across the country, it's not necessarily like something you just say yes to, right? It's kind of like an involved process.
So I thought all this was running through my head. And I was like, oh my God, there's so much to do. Then, to add on top of it, Mr. Sam Dew had the just random thought, well, we're going to have a car show too, so why don't we just bring out the electric S2000?
Right.
And I'm like...
Sure. Except that I haven't worked on it because I've been busy doing other
shit. And then, like the car has to had to get it charging.
Now we're talking about possibly your two most valuable / expensive personal cars. And it's like one's not done and one's worth an astronomical amount, and we're going to put both of them in a trailer.
And just boom.
Send
so
it.
There was like...
Big shout out to Turn and Sam and Pit and Paddock because they are doing it.
Yeah, it was huge.
They're doing it.
And just before I even get into it, the event was absolutely amazing. Like, worth everything. Like, wow. Okay?
Yeah.
So, more or less, let's just get right into this.
All right.
I want to basically just do a whole rundown, and I actually have a little cheat sheet, and this is my itinerary because my brain sucks. And I need to see it, and then I'll just talk about it. Because I literally won't be able to remember the order of events.
Okay.
So, flew into PA. My wife's with me, and she wanted to go too. Actually, Daryl was like, well, why don't you bring her? And I'm like, okay, because a lot of the guys normally bring their significant others or somebody that, like, works with them, right?
Sure,
So, it's kind of like you have a co-driver kind of a thing, right? Like, okay, cool. Asked her. She wanted to go. She said yes. Flew into PA. I stayed at a hotel the first night by myself or with her right near Turn 14. Okay, right next to HQ Turn 14.
Yes.
And in the morning, I had a session with my group of sales staff, and I taught them again just to reiterate selling all my product.
Yes.
So kind of went over that. Had a really good meeting with them. Super cool. And then the car showed up that day. So then they were like, hey, do you have anything that you need to do on your car, get gas and stuff? I'm like, yeah, actually, I had tires shipped in to this spot called RT Tuning. I actually just bought 2 fronts for the Porsche because 2 of them in the front were super old, and then the 2 in the back were, like, pretty old.
Okay.
But I was just, like, didn't really want to drop, like, mad loot on the tires.
Yeah.
It was literally going to cost, like, $2,200 for tires for that car.
For all 4.
Yeah, and the worst part is that Falcon was sponsoring the event. and they'll give free tires. But literally, they didn't have the right sizes in 19s.
Oh, I
And
see.
then Titan 7 was like, we'll give you wheels.
Yes.
So then I grabbed some wheels, test fit them. They were 18s. They were for a narrow body car, so they didn't really fit perfectly for the RS chassis. And they were 18s, so I was like, oh, I could have another opportunity for tires potentially, and then still it was just out of range. So
Okay.
I ended up replacing the two fronts, did some chores, got to drive their Supra around a little bit, the one that they just built.
Yeah.
That car is super fast, pretty awesome build. So basically got back to the, we went to a hotel, and then in the morning it was like, we're shooting off, right?
Yes.
So from there, from Pennsylvania, we drove to Reading, PA.
Yep.
Okay. Reading, PA was the destination. That was basically on the way to a pagoda,
Okay.
right? So I was thinking, okay, I saw actually on Sam's story on IG that he went to a pagoda, and I'm like, oh, I think he's driving like the course, right? So I was really paying attention. I kind of wanted to know what we were doing.
Yeah.
So we drive to this pagoda in the middle of Pennsylvania, this Asian style. It's kind of Asian themed, I guess. On the top of a hill, amazing outlook view,
Okay.
right? And it was literally like this toge track.
Yeah.
All the way to the top. So everybody was just smashing. Dude.
Yeah.
Like they were going nuts, right? So there's tons of video. The Titan 7 guys brought a Lamborghini Huracan that's like 1,200 horsepower.
Okay.
And they were literally like, Aaron got in the car and he just like did a launch down the mountain. And then we're hearing it all the way down the mountain. And the dude was fucking whomping on it.
Okay. Balls to
Yeah.
the wall in a 1,200 horsepower Huracan downhill.
Yeah, he literally like, we're at the top of the pagoda and he just like launched it. And it was just like, it hooked and he just
And it sounded like he never let off.
Oh, yeah. It was like, it sounded like a Formula One car. Just,
Yeah.
And then you hear it, and he's like, all these crazy downshifts down
Yeah.
the mountain, and we're like,
Super
damn, right?
Super cool.
So, like, Ravi was chasing them in his 996.
Yeah.
And then I went with some other guys, too, and we, like, got tons of footage, dude.
Yeah.
The whole thing was just getting footage and just, like, having an amazing time,
Sure,
right?
sure.
So, we went there, and then we were like, okay, we got to keep going along on the voyage. And after the pagoda, we went to Pocono Raceway.
Yep.
Right? So Pocono is basically a circuit. Well, sorry, it's not a circuit track. It's a track with 3 corners.
Okay.
Okay? And
I've never been.
Yeah. So a really cool track, very interesting, but of course they have an infield, right?
Yeah.
So all the like oval tracks will always kind of have an infield, or like normally they do. Because might as well multi-purpose and have some like, when I say infield, it's basically like circuit section.
Okay.
Right? So you're hitting like the high speed like berm, and then you'll dart into the track and you'll have like a circuit, and then you go back onto it. So they use like a section of it.
Yeah.
And we basically they served us food. Everything was like super nice, like kind of catered meal, right?
Yeah. Tracks
all to ourselves. There was like this famous race car driver that actually came and did like a pep talk. He does like life coaching and has a podcast and all this. And Steve from Falcon apparently knew the guy.
Okay.
And he was just like flipping out. He's like, oh my God.
Like meaning he's like a famous dude.
Oh yeah,
or
he's
something?
like famous, very well known. Like,
And if you guys know Steve doesn't really like fangirl like that.
Oh, he was like fanning out.
But he was fanning out.
Oh, big time.
Fascinating.
So he like, I guess he was like been talking, like listening to this dude's podcast for a long time. And anyway, so basically like a racing coach.
Yeah.
We're
gonna get a little
dude. There's a lot of bugs.
Little mini mosquito bite going down. Anyways,
time of year.
It's all right.
So he had a little pep talk, and then we got on the track, and like basically it was just like 2 hours just open track session.
Very cool.
So it was really fun, helmets were optional because this was just like a take it easy kind of a track day.
Yeah.
But dude, don't get me wrong, everybody was like smashing. You
Sure.
know what I mean? And we'd basically go out. There would be maybe like five people on the track.
Okay.
Because there was like 15 of us. So then it would be like, all right, you guys go for however long, and then naturally people would come back and other people would go on. And
yeah.
I went out twice. So I did, I don't know, probably like 20 laps or something like that. Nothing crazy.
In your GT3.
Yeah, in the GT3. And the rear tires were like a little bit bald, you know? They weren't bald. They were just kind of old. Okay?
Sure.
So,
and your fronts were fresh.
And my fronts are fresh. So I'm like, smashing around the track. I'm really learning my line. I'm feeling really confident and stuff like that. And then I see Aaron behind me in the Huracan.
In the Huracan.
And I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure that he's gonna like be on my tail in a second, but I want to try to,
Yeah.
So then I'm going around a turn, I'm banking it a little harder, and I feel that the rear end just kind of starts stepping out, and my girl's in the car and stuff, and like I'm just like, fuck, right? So I just feel it's like, and then I like did a full just stop, right?
A 180?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
like I literally, and I ended backwards, and then the Huracan's like, like that, right? So then, like, oh shit, and I'm like, are you good? Because like
was your girl tripping out?
I mean,
Actually,
she like wasn't.
Okay.
But also like, she like can't really see like out. She could see out the windshield, but like. We're kind of like my passenger seat's actually pretty low.
Yeah,
right?
okay, you got
and she's like 5 feet tall, so
yeah, she's a tiny lady, but like the seats that you have in that GT3 RS are not the OE seats.
They're not even the OE seats. They're like so the passenger is like probably like an inch lower even.
Yeah. It's very snug
because I'm like an inch higher
and small,
and then the passenger I put like an inch lower, so they're kind of like everything's kind of even out that way.
So she didn't have quite enough scenery to freak out.
She could see, but maybe like not the track as much as like I don't know. Maybe she could see everything. I'm not sure. But she was just like kind of just chilling.
Yeah.
And we didn't go off the track or anything.
Sure.
And I'm like, you good? And she's like, I think I'm good. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, cool. So flip around and like fucking go back out. So it was a lot of fun. So we did the track day. Everything was good there. We got tons of pictures. We did like private picture stuff, like staged pictures.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing that.
It was super, super good. Then that was the on-track experience, they called it. And then we drove to Scranton, PA.
Yeah.
Now, you know what Scranton is, right?
I've been around a lot of PA.
Yeah.
So I'm generally familiar.
Yeah, but like The Office, right?
Yes.
The show The Office. It's supposed to take place in Scranton.
Yeah.
So it's got a cool vibe. There's like little things that are very interesting in the city. I mean, it's a very old city.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
So we actually stayed. Our hotel was an old train station.
Okay.
And it had a big old bell tower, and it's super old, right?
Sounds cool.
You walk in, there's like all this like vintage things, stuff that they would never build today. It was like just you literally see like the train station where you would walk through the doors to the tracks, and they have it all closed off. So it's like literally was a train station.
Yeah.
So we're staying up in like these high rooms, and like we went to go eat. We had like this private area and everything to go have this like really good food at. I guess let's see
what time of the day are we at now?
This is like the first day night.
Okay, you're now nighttime of the first day.
Yeah. So it was called Radisson Lackawanna Station Hotel. Anyway, so then we went to eat at Bar Pazzo that was like right down the street, right?
Okay.
So they basically like rented out this whole section, like all you can eat everything. It was like crazy. Everybody's getting drinks and like it's nuts, right?
Yeah.
Just like all like the food is so good. Everywhere that like Sam picked out. Yeah. Like he's interested in good drinks, good food. It was amazing. So we're eating there. Everybody's having a great time. And then we're all kind of walking back. We're all a little bit buzzed or whatever. Like I probably had like 2 drinks, and that's like the max I could do right now because it's been so long since I drank anything. So we're like, okay, so we're walking back to the hotel.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, all eerie. It's like night already. All the cars are parked out front, right? It's pretty cool. And then, Alan from Sparko, right?
Yeah.
So Alan's like pretty buzzed, I can tell, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my God, look up there. That's a ghost, right? And there's like somebody at the window. And I'm like, bro, it's not a fucking ghost. It's because we're loud as shit out here. Like everybody's like yelling and fucking
just having a good time.
Racket. Yeah, we're having
and he
time.
sees a person in the window of their
like,
own house, and he's like, it's a ghost.
No, it wasn't the own house. It was at the hotel, right?
Oh, okay.
So then more people come to the window because we're fucking yelling. I see. And then he's like, oh my God, there's another one. This place is haunted for sure. And I'm like, no, man, it's because we're so loud, I think, that people are coming to the window. No, he's like, I'm gonna sleep. He's like, I'm gonna open up all the door, like all the things, so nothing can slam shut. I'm gonna just sleep with my Bose headset on. He was basically like, honestly, fucking terrified of ghosts, right? And I'm like, okay, like,
because ghosts can't mess with you when you have Bose headphones on.
I guess it's noise canceling, right? So if they're making noise, like, you have no idea if they are or not. And I think, and he was the last one down the next
Alan.
morning. He was the last one down. I was like, dude, I don't know if Alan made it, man.
So
Like,
he was messed up. Alan got a shout out to Alan. If you guys, Alan is Sparco North America.
yes.
So Sparco USA, when you call the man in charge, Alan.
Right. So
Now you're on day 2.
day 2, we are headed to the direction of New York.
Yes.
Okay. So we're basically driving through like Toge mountain roads, and it's like so beautiful. Oh my God. Like everything is just green.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's green for just as far as the eye could see. There was a river. I forgot which one it was, but it was like a river on the side, and we were just like kind of just smashing through the area. It was just like interesting scenery cutouts.
Yeah.
And we basically did all this like video, B-roll footage, and all this cool stuff. And that was basically through, it was called Hawk's Nest. Have you heard of this?
You ever heard of it?
Okay, so Hawk's Nest through like Madison, New Jersey. Then we stopped for lunch. Okay.
In Jersey.
Is this Jersey? To be honest, I think it's Jersey.
Yeah.
And this place is called Sunday Motor Co. Have you heard of this one?
No, I haven't. But I
Okay.
mean, at some point in time from the state of Pennsylvania to get to New York,
You would go through Jersey.
you're going to have to
inevitably.
probably be in
So
Jersey.
I'm pretty sure this was Jersey. Sunday Motor Co.
Okay.
This place was super cool. So they basically shut down this, restaurant / coffee joint.
Yeah.
And it was an old gas station.
Yeah.
And they had it all converted to like the normal like hipster style glass roll up doors. Everything's
Okay.
like black, and it's all like motorsport. Everything's
Yeah.
motorsport style. The owner has like a 912 Porsche. They got like a bunch of Porsche stuff, and it's all like, it's super hip, dude. It's
Yeah.
so cool. So they basically shut the place down, and we had like almost like a Cars and Coffee meet.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So we did this Cars and Coffee meet, and it was just like only our guys.
All right.
Maybe about 15 cars, and we just crammed into their area, and just like all the cars were all parked around. You probably saw this. People were doing IG videos like nuts. Just like all of our cars through this parking lot.
I only saw glimpses here and there, maybe 1 or 2 from you.
Yeah.
1 from Sam, maybe like 1 from Alan, and 1 from Turn 14 itself.
Right.
And,
And they're
that's
sharing
because
it and
I was in the middle of things in Chicago.
Sure.
But what I did see, remember when we came back, I was like, dude, it looked pretty damn cool, but I only saw fragments, right? So
yeah.
hearing your itinerary and like the process, and obviously when the footage starts to come out, when it's put together and the way Sam will edit it and everyone's individual kind of stuff.
Yep.
I'm sure it's going to be amazing. So make sure you guys look for that.
Yeah,
I mean,
look for that.
By the time this Car Talk episode, I think that
It'll be pretty darn close.
or you guys will just start looking up Driver's Project, Turn 14, Pit and Paddock. You'll find it.
Yep.
So all right. So
basically that was really cool. Like David from Rywire was messaging me like, "Oh my God, that's like my favorite coffee shop."
So you are now in the middle of day 2?
This is like middle of day 2.
Middle of day 2.
Yep. Okay, so we leave from there, and we're basically headed to New York, the direction of New York, and we're going to Hydro's Auto Spa. Have you heard of this spot?
Okay, heard of it, but I haven't been there. And
I want to say it was in the Bronx.
And now that I think about it, have I heard of it, or was it because I saw it on one of your guys' stories? I don't know.
There you go. So apparently this...
Do you remember what bridge you crossed to go from Jersey to New York?
No.
Did you take did you go underwater or
it
did you
was
go
over? Over?
Okay, a bridge.
I think it was the Brooklyn Bridge. Dude, I'm like really bad at New York. I've been there a bunch of times, but I don't really drive into New York. I want to say we were like Bronx. I'm sure you guys can correct me on that, where Hydro Auto Spa is. But we basically had to drive through some really bad streets and really harsh highways.
I did see someone's post, maybe yours, or story, getting the cars washed there.
Sure, yeah. I think Turn 14 was reposting the cars getting washed a lot. So I'm like driving in. I kind of like lost the pack, and I'm just like going over the bridge. And dude, people were like going crazy. First off, they're like tailgating the shit out of me.
You mean regular people?
Yeah, well, like guys in big semi trucks and stuff too.
Yeah, but like people, locals, not people in this caravan.
Yeah. I'm talking like local people.
Yeah.
Or whatnot. But like you got guys like hanging out of cars, like, do a burnout. I'm just like, oh my God, dude, get over it, right? Then they're like filming me. Like, I mean, these dudes are acting fools around me. I'm just like,
I mean,
just give me some
You're
space.
in a nice car, but like,
it's
that's
like they've
a little
never
bit
seen it before.
like they've never seen an orange GT3 RS. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's only like 400 of those, I think, like ever made. But I mean, anyway. But yeah, people were going nuts, and I'm just like, holy shit, dude! Like, I'm just trying to like not destroy my car.
Sure.
Because potholes and those nasty stuff going on. And like literally I'd look behind me and there'd just be a semi like inches from my bumper, and I'm just like, I would like point at him.
Yeah. Like back
and
up.
I'd be like, dude, get the fuck back.
Yeah.
You know, like give me some space.
Were you just driving slowly?
No, I'm right on the other car in front of me. It was traffic and everybody's trying to just get in and stuff. Anyway, it was nuts. So then we get to Hydro's Auto Spa and get the cars washed. And apparently this is like a big deal shop.
Okay.
Like meaning shop. They've been in a lot of like music videos, and they've been in like, I don't know if they were in like Fast and the Furious or something like that.
For their like detailing skills, or just because the look of the shop?
I think it's like the look of the shop, what they do. There isn't another shop like it around there.
Okay.
So they have their like little niche, and then they also like collaborate with a lot of people and stuff like that. So they collaborated with Turn on this. They washed our cars, and then what we ended up doing is leaving the cars there for the night, and we just crammed it all into their spot, and then we got a big like van, like 2 big vans, and then they took us into the city, into Manhattan. Went to Manhattan, stayed at the hotel was called the Moxie Chelsea Hotel.
Okay.
I mean, it was whatever. It was like hip and
I'm actually gonna be in New York in like 3 weeks.
There you go.
Well, but I haven't been at the Moxie Chelsea.
Yeah, I guess it was in Chelsea. I'm guessing, but it's in Manhattan. I don't know if that's
okay.
I just don't. I just can't remember New York.
And so now this is the nighttime of day 2.
Correct.
Right.
Yep. So then we all go downstairs, meet, and we shuttle to a restaurant.
Okay.
And the restaurant happened to be owned by, you remember Urban Racer?
Yes.
Right. So the guy that did Urban Racer, he actually owns this restaurant.
Okay.
And it's a sushi spot, and I don't know if there's I don't know what it's called. Oh yeah, Shinka Ramen and Sake Bar.
Okay.
This place is like amazing.
Amazing.
I mean, every place we went to was like outrageous. It was just so good. So they basically had a bar for us, and it was all private, okay? And it was everybody from the event, and it was just open bar. Well, maybe not open bar, but you could have all the drinks that you wanted pretty much.
Yeah.
And then they would just serve, courses, right? So we had this ramen, and it was bone marrow ramen.
Mm-hmm.
It was my first time having bone marrow ramen, I think. I've had bone marrow before.
Yeah.
But
so that's different than your tonkatsu ramen.
Yeah.
Bone marrow ramen.
Yeah, that shit was good, dude.
I'm sure.
It was amazing. And then they had desserts, and the dessert was just like ridiculous. So anyway, basically I had a really, really good time. We were there until like 12 o'clock or so.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, yeah, we're going to like, a lot of people are going to go to like clubs and stuff.
Okay.
So we didn't really arrange transport back. So I was like, you know what? Like, how far is it? So it was an hour walk. I'm like, I'm down. I just want to see the city, whatever, right? So me and my girl, and then I convinced Bakari from Falcon
to walk with
you? To
you?
be our bodyguard.
Okay, so just for the sake of comedic relief, you guys, Ryan is 5 feet? 5'1"?
5'2" on a good day.
Okay, his wife's 5 feet, and Bakari from Falcon is 6'7".
Probably about 6'7".
He could be 6'8". And he
looks
like a
he's
very
7 feet
large
tall.
African American male, right? See, like I'm not exaggerating. He really is like 6'7", 6'8".
He's giant.
He's a giant, right? 6'7", 6'8" is, if you're in the NBA, average.
Yeah, but
normal human beings, above average. Next to Ryan and his wife, like bodyguard, massive bodyguard status.
So I say bodyguard, I was just kidding, but like you were like, yeah, dude, walk back with us. He's like, oh, I could go for a walk. And then so we're walking, and then the girls from Competition Clutch, were walking in front, and then we're like, hey, and they're like, so then we ended up just like all
having
walking back. So we had a big group together, and we're all walking
keep
back.
the ladies safe.
Yep, exactly. So we're walking, and they could totally handle themselves, but it was just like funny, and we're just like walking through and seeing all these different things. We saw like a rap battle in the middle of the night.
Where were you? When you started walking back, do you remember where you were?
Well, I was at that restaurant.
Yeah. But like when you saw the rap battle, the streets and
what's that one? That square, Union Square. Is that
okay.
Union Square.
Oh, so you were in Manhattan?
Yeah, we were like in Manhattan. So I think it was Union Square. We were like, oh, Union Square's right there on the map. We can walk by it, Yeah, so we walked by it, and I think every night they have rap battles there apparently.
Well, here's the
but
thing.
it was cool to like stumble upon.
The thing that I joke about is like I know people from New York probably laugh because they're like, it's Manhattan, right? Like it's not that bad. But I mean, you know how many episodes of Law and Order SVU I've seen where New York's great until like, you know, at night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's like at least 12 out of the 25 seasons of Law and Order SVU is Manhattan at night.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
So we had Bakari. So
you had Bakari, 6'8" back
It
there.
was good. It was good. All right, so we got back to the hotel, slept.
Was it really an hour?
It was like, yeah, it was 1 hour. It was literally an hour walk. But it was like 2 miles, so it was maybe a little bit more.
And what was the weather like?
It was nice.
Like 80s? 70?
Yeah, like maybe high 70s.
It's very pleasant.
It was perfect.
It's very pleasant.
Yeah. So we definitely had like a nice walk back. I think some of the other guys got a cab or something like that. But it's, the thing is, it still takes 40 minutes.
Sure.
That's why we were like, well, I mean, I don't like walking. I'll walk off the 2 drinks I had and just have a good time. So anyway, wake up in the morning and everybody's like kind of late because
people had some long nights.
A lot of people went to like the club and
Yeah.
stuff like that, right? Like I don't know what went on there, but I'm sure it was fun. I just wasn't down to get all that involved, right? So anyways, in that morning, we got something to eat and then we had to like book it back to PA
Yeah.
for the Pit and Paddock meet.
At what time?
That meet started at 12.
Ooh, how many hours did it take you guys to get back over there?
11.
4?
I don't know, maybe like 3.5 or yeah. So like we were smashing
Oh,
that.
for sure.
It was crazy.
For sure.
And like everybody was just like driving very safe.
Safely.
Very safe.
So you guys make it back to the Pit and Paddock meet. This is day 3.
Yep, and it was like right when it started. So we were like Daryl was like, I am not gonna be late to my own meet.
For sure.
Right? So he like made it a point that he was going to do whatever he had to do to get there on time.
Yep.
So we were just like, oh my God. It's like,
Yeah.
you know,
Safely.
So get there, pull up, stage the cars, and I am so tired.
Yeah.
I'm just like dead, right? So we had to get the electric car was inside of that building because this was their warehouse.
Yeah.
So this was at their warehouse.
In Hatfield, PA.
Yep.
We did a Honda, aka the Eibach meet.
Yep.
At Hatfield Turn 14 Distribution Warehouse.
That was
I know exactly where that is.
That was my first time meeting all the.
It's like a pleasant location.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's pleasant. I like it there.
Has a big. It almost reminds me of the Eibach meet because it goes all the way around in a circle. It's a big facility.
Big warehouse, huge bay doors.
Yeah, it's like perfect. So my car was inside with Dai's car, with his pro car. And of course, Falcon, Steve, he's the one that can drive, like one of the like 2 or 3 people that drives Dai's car.
Yeah.
Right? So like, okay, Steve, go get Dai's car, and then Ryan, go get your car, and then we're going to pull him out, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. So we go, drive the cars, and like, honestly, people like weren't even paying attention. I mean, they were, but I got this loud Formula Drift car in front of me, and then my electric car.
Which makes zero noise.
Yeah. So a couple of the guys were like, dude, hopefully you just don't hit anybody. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, I'm not going to hit anybody, whatever, right? So we're like driving in, and I'll tell you the story. This is really what happened.
Did you hit somebody?
Yeah. I feel really bad. So I'm telling him for the first time. I didn't tell him.
I hope you don't hit somebody. And I'm like, wait, did you hit somebody? You go be okay. For those of you in SoCal, or if you saw the videos, like on my stories, on Ryan's stories, when Turn 14 did the premiere event at the Period Correct shop.
Period Correct, right.
Where Ryan's EVS2 and Dai's car debuted.
Right. Dai's other car.
Yeah, the other car.
Yeah.
Then it will make sense. And if you watch Ryan's personal YouTube channel, you see him fire up the car, the IGTV video I did with Ryan, blah, blah, blah. For those of you that would know, you do know that it doesn't make any noise. But it's kind of hard for people to really put that into perspective when they see the S2000. It literally, I mean, it does make a...
and you actually hear water pumps. Too.
Yeah, you do. But next to any car that has any type of audible exhaust note or engine noise, you will not know that car.
Especially with an Pro FD car with an LS in it.
So
and then
car's next to you.
And then there's like, some dudes like playing music and stuff too,
Yeah.
blasting it, right? So there's a lot of noise going around.
So
And then
what did you do?
so I'm going, and we were gonna like park like butt to butt, I guess, or whatever, and then tail to tail. Is that better?
Yes.
So and then we like didn't, because there was like tons of people around and stuff.
Okay.
So Steve parks like this, and then I'm like coming up like this, and I was just gonna kind of stage it like that, right? So this guy, and sorry if you're listening, bro. He like runs up and he wants to get like video of, he probably doesn't know if Dai's driving or not. He's like
Okay.
right up to like thing, and then he's like kind of like filming, and I'm like, okay, well I want to kind of go right there, so there's enough space, so I kind of pull up,
Yeah.
just up, right, and then the dude like steps back, and I'm like, oh fuck, right, and then he doesn't know that I just kind of pulled up. Because, like, how would you, unless you see it out of your peripheral?
Sure.
So he steps backwards, and he, like, literally stepped on the car.
On
like,
your bumper?
Like, on the, like, you know how the belayed lip is, like, integrated into the bumper?
Yes.
So it was, like, right on the corner of, like, the lip piece.
Yes, yes.
And then he, like, fell back.
Onto your car.
Onto the headlight, quarter panel, hood, like, full-fledged. I almost felt like, in slow motion, it felt like that he was, like, trying to make it worse or something. I'm like, bro, you stepped on it, and then now you're, like, on the hood, and now you're rolling off of the car.
So
and,
he
like,
stepped
what's
back
going
and
on?
literally, like, body goes
Just
back, hits the car and rolls off?
Rolls off over the fender, like, all, like, I'm like, oh my god. And then mad people, everybody's around, they're all filming it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking in my head, like,
Oh, this is going to go mini viral?
yeah, I was like, oh god. I hope it doesn't look like that I hit him. I hope it
Sure.
looks like that he
Backed
hit me.
up. Yeah, because
you know?
that's what happened.
Yeah, that is what happened. So then I'm just like, oh fuck, right? And my girl was out of the car. She was like over here, like standing, and she's like, she saw what happened, and she just like looked at me, and she just said my face was just like, oh shit.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? So then I'm like, are you all right, man? And then he's like, oh, what the hell, like whatever, and he felt like super awkward probably, and then he kind of like walked away, and then later on when I was standing out in front of the car, like after we just kind of finally got it staged, I was like, hey, are you the guy that hit my car?
Right.
And then he's like yeah man, I'm sorry, and I'm like, okay, thank god this isn't like a lawsuit waiting to happen or
Right, he
something.
didn't try to call Jacoby and
yeah
Myers.
yeah exactly.
Well, dude, did the car get scuffed up?
I don't think so. The front, right where the fender meets the front bumper,
Yeah.
that little like awkward spot by the headlight,
Yeah.
it like popped up. So I like put it back in.
Okay.
I think it's fine. But I was just like, oh my god, this would be like my first drive with a bunch of people
Sure,
around that
sure.
I like hit someone, I'm like, holy
You
crap.
mean that someone hit you?
Yeah, that someone hit me. He literally stepped on the car.
Yeah.
And then like fell and probably was like, what the hell is behind me? He probably
Right.
had no like clue
Sure,
that there was
sure.
another car there, But because Dai's car was making such a ruckus.
For sure.
That it was just like everybody's like, oh shit,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he was doing like little like
And
you
it was
know?
Steve.
Yeah, and it's Steve.
And it's Steve.
Yeah.
All right, so the meet went wonderfully.
Yep.
We're near the end of day 3.
Correct. So after the meet, we were like so tired, and we loaded up the cars like straight into the hauler.
Yeah.
Like straight to go like
To come back to
literally
Cali.
Straight back to Cali, and the car's here right now. Both the cars are here.
Oh, I was about to ask. When did
Yeah.
they get back? Already back.
Like on Thursday.
Nice.
Well, they actually went to Go Tuning,
Okay.
and then
Dude, Daryl and Turn are efficient, man.
oh yeah, just
Efficient.
yeah. So they wouldn't have it any other way. So they got the cars straight back. Everything came back anyway. So everybody's so tired at this point,
Sure.
right? We're just like, I just see people are just like laid out, like
Yeah.
had a rough night, a lot of driving. So then we're like, let's go to back to the hotel in PA, and then we'll go to dinner. So a lot of the Turn 14 staff was there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's probably like 50 of us.
Okay.
And we were in New Hope, PA at Greenhouse.
Okay.
It was called Greenhouse. I think it's called Greenhouse. Sounds right. So this was the restaurant, like basically the last restaurant, the last hurrah. And we had this like upstairs room that was all just like catered for us. So
Okay.
all the drinks that you could want, all the food that you could want, like another amazing restaurant.
Sure.
So it was just like we were just getting pampered. Bro.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
crazy. Just getting pampered. And yeah, we just had all the food that we could eat. Everybody, good conversation. Everybody's chilling. I got to talk to more of the turn staff.
Yeah.
That wasn't directly with us on the trip.
Sure, sure.
So then they came out, and then we did like a kind of like an award ceremony thing where it's just like we had tickets where you could win raffle stuff, and they kind of just did a little private thing that was super cool. And then we had a pull-up competition.
Okay.
Somebody decided that they were just gonna jump up on a rafter and just like do some pull-ups.
Yeah.
And then another person followed, and
Yeah.
then like almost every single person
Got in?
Got in, and
So
did
who's the
pull-up.
winner? How many did you do?
12, but I stopped because the person. No, I did 13 because the person before me did 12.
Okay. So you could have done more, but you just wanted to
I
be...
didn't want to like. I just wanted. I was actually one of the last people to go,
Yeah.
and then I just did
You just did enough to
because
win.
I wanted to make it look like that I could have just kept going.
But you totally could have...
Oh, I was like already. I was out of it.
What, 2 more?
I could probably have done 2 more.
Two
yeah.
more. 13? When was the last time you jumped up and grabbed any kind of thing and tried to do pull-ups?
Actually, I went for a walk with my girl in Huntington downtown, or in Huntington Library. It's like a really nice walking.
Yeah.
Like they have like tons of green space.
Yeah.
And they have like a workout thing. And there was a bar, and I just like jumped up on the bar, and I did like 10 or something like that.
When was that?
That was probably 4 or 5 months ago.
Okay, and aside from that,
Years, I don't know.
look at that. The guy just jumps up and does 13 pull-ups and wins a competition.
I mean, I didn't win it wasn't really a competition. It was a
It was just
a random event that
But
happened.
let's see who can do the most, which is called a competition.
Yeah,
All right.
I made it a competition.
All right, so food done. Every day is a success. End of day
Awesome.
3.
Yep.
Cars are already loaded up.
Cars are already loaded. Went back to the hotel. They, got us all back to the hotel.
Yeah.
Nobody's driving really. Like, they'll have like sober drivers, and they'll figure it all out. And they have like
Yeah.
everything's just like they literally had everything so set up.
Yeah.
It would be like, how did you already get here from the next stop? Like
Very cool.
everything was so planned. It was very organized. It was a great event. Last night, stayed in the hotel. And then basically Ravi had a rental car.
Yep.
And then he's like, hey, we happen to be on the same flight home.
Okay.
I was like, perfect. So he was with his 2 guys. We went and did downtown PA and got some sandwiches. What is it called? The cheesesteaks?
A Philly cheesesteak?
Philly cheesesteaks. So we got some Philly cheesesteaks. Like
From where?
I don't remember, dude. There was one that they were going to go to. It wasn't open on Mondays. And then like right across the way. This was like downtown. Like near like the Liberty Bell and stuff.
Okay.
I don't know.
You don't remember what it was called? Just curious.
Sorry, I don't
Because that
remember.
became a thing. So I've gone to Philly.
I've also had Philly cheesesteak with you even.
Yeah,
but it was in a different area. This wasn't
Yeah.
downtown that we went.
I've been to Philly in PA like 6 times now, and the first like 3 years it was like, all right, we got to try this cheesesteak,
Cheesesteak.
Now it's like, okay, that's enough, right?
Yeah.
But I was just curious. So, Ravi and you, same flight, rental, gets you to the airport, and
Yeah.
now you're back.
And then he's like, "Oh, well, you're on the way home. We'll just drive you home
Yeah.
too," because his wife picked him up.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, okay, cool."
So
So it was like the whole trip just worked out.
It's just
like,
fantastic.
so well.
Great time with the wife. Great time with Turn. Pit and Paddock. The when you guys see this episode, I'm pretty sure their coverage will already be up. So just look up Drivers Project, Pit
Drivers
and Paddock,
Project 2. Pit
Drivers
Paddock.
Project 2, Pit and Paddock, Turn 14. You'll find the coverage. I'm sure it'll be out.
So anyway, it was wonderful.
4 days of just fun, socialization, industry, homies, cars.
Met a lot of got a lot closer to a lot of people. There was a lot of California people there.
Yeah.
I mean, like tons of us. More than half was California. But yeah, I got real close to a lot of people. It was super awesome.
Well, that's cool, man. That sounds like like an all in all, just a fantastic trip.
Yep, they're gonna do an off-road one next.
Right.
And then they're talking about some other ones that seem pretty crazy.
Yeah, Turn's got Daryl and Turn and Sam. They got some amazing stuff planned. I'm sure that the growth of that is going to be amazing. So Daryl, can you please answer my emails because now that you have this crazy event you just finished, let's get back to that.
Back to business.
Okay, now I was gone for about Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 4 days myself. There was cars and good people, good food, good times. So in that sense, very similar.
Yeah.
But when we come back, I'll go over my Midwest trip to Chicago, Schaumburg, surrounding areas, and recap my trip and how it was the same, but very much not the same.
Well, I want to hear what is not the same
as
about
Ryan's trip. Those of you watching that were there or saw the stories, you already can imagine, I believe, or know what I'm talking about. So when we come back, you guys, we just did East Coast, Turn 14, Drivers Project 2, Rywire, Pit and Paddock. Then we come back, Big Mike, Midwest, Chicago, Schaumburg, Tuner Evolution trip, and we'll go over that, okay? We'll see you guys in a moment. Think Bigger podcast. This is a branch of the Think Bigger project that is a brand and a movement and an ideology that was created to better the community and the culture around it. How you behave in your relationships, how you build a car, how you do anything comes from the way that you think. And if you can start there, then everything else will follow.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Ryan from Rywire here, and today I have something really, really cool to show you. What I want to show you guys is that nothing that I'm doing here is so far-fetched that you guys can't do it at home. We don't have any CNC, there's no 5-axis machine here. I'm literally just using my brain and hand tools to get a really, really cool project done. Even in the most basic conditions, a beautiful outcome can arise.
All right, you guys, welcome back. The first half we talked about Ryan's trip out to the East Coast for the industry, Turn 14 industry event with Pit and Paddock, entitled Drivers Project 2. Okay. And that same exact long weekend,
Yep.
I ended up, like I mentioned in the first half, if it was not that exact date, I would have allocated time and budgeted for it, and I would have gone to to be with Ryan and capture all that for the vlogs and all that, because it just would have been, the story was amazing, and there's all kinds of cool coverage that's going to be out and has already come out. But for our personal channels and stuff, it would have been cool. But anyways,
Yeah.
I ended up going out to the Midwest for TE Chicago,
Right.
which is at the Schaumburg, at the Renaissance Convention Center and Hotel.
Okay.
This is the 4th year that
Okay.
I've gone to Chicago.
At that location?
Yeah. Oh, so TE did one in, I think it's called Rosemont Convention Center Hotel.
Okay.
Great location, but there's it was the first time in Chicago for that show series.
Okay.
And ended up moving to the Schaumburg to the Renaissance Convention Center and Hotel, which is like super cool.
Yeah.
Super cool location because it's all connected.
Okay.
And that Renaissance, I think it's part of Marriott, Bonvoy, et cetera, like it's a very beautiful hotel, and because it's connected to the convention center, it's super convenient. So
Nice.
I love the place. So 2020 obviously was interesting. I was in Chicago region for this event in 2020. It was one of the only ones that happened, and it was interesting weather. It was outdoor for the first time. It's usually an indoor/outdoor event, but the indoor couldn't happen in 2020. Obviously,
Right.
this year, I
So they
think
pivoted, did outdoor that one year.
yeah, but I guess when all of the logistics were locked in X amount of months ago, it still had to be booked as outdoor. And what happened was the state of Illinois officially reopened.
Yeah.
No masks, everything to 100% capacity, et cetera,
Right.
the Friday before this event.
Oh,
Like the day before.
good timing then.
Well, yes, but it was still an outdoor event.
Oh, okay.
Now, so I'm going to start off with saying that I know people in the Midwest, especially areas like Chicago, are totally used to wild weather, right? But being used to wild weather doesn't necessarily mean that you want your cars to be in wild weather. You might just be like, it's hot, it's humid today, or it's cold, it's rainy, or it's freezing. That doesn't mean you want to take your cars out in it necessarily. Now, I saw people in this region stand out in not hard rain, but lengthy, like duration of the event rain.
Damn.
And it's because the weather is nice, it's not cold, you're not shivering. And I saw people out there, no fucks given. And I was like, last year, I was like, yo, these people are cool and they're funny and they're smiling in the rain. Okay. I was unfucking prepared for what was going to happen. Okay?
This year.
Dude, you guys, okay? If any of you have your post notifications turned on my IG, you saw this. I got DMs about it. I'm sure all the people saw it on TEs and all the people attending. If you happen to be one of those people who did not see this, just wait. Oh, on my IG, on my highlights. Go to the highlights. I did put a highlight of like 12 seconds. You can hear how muffled the sound is because my phone had been, it was just soaked. Like, you guys. I have no idea how people over there were able to be so cool about it. Because I personally have never been physically, like my body has never been in a storm like that. We started the day 85, 88 degrees with like a 50, 60% humidity. Like it was going to be, that was the forecast. The sun was out. You can look at everyone's stories and posts. It was nice. Hot.
At the beginning.
Hot, but nice. And, you know, roll-ins at like 6 in the morning. And the sun's already up by like 6:30, bright. And, it's going to be so hot today. But, you know, not 90% humidity. That would have been just the worst.
Yeah.
It was going to be like 85 with like 65% humidity.
Okay.
Obviously, it could be way worse. 90 and 90 is just disgusting.
Yeah.
But so the people out there, once again, they don't care.
Yeah.
People are cooking in the sun.
They're used to it.
Some people might have a hat on. Some people don't even have a hat on. They don't care. Around 11 or 12, someone was like, huh. And when I say a couple clouds in the sky, like cotton puffs.
Yeah.
Like not dark. There's no indication. And they're just like, it says like 30% chance of rain at 2 or something like that. That was like someone offhandedly mentioned that when I was in a meeting. Okay.
This must have been good.
You guys. Ryan, it was the nuttiest thing I've ever seen.
Because we're from California. We don't
get
like...
I mean, I've been out in Palm Springs, the desert.
Yeah.
When like a passing storm hit where for like 7 minutes you can't see more than a foot in front of the car.
Right.
And you're driving like 20 miles an hour on the highway because it is raining so hard. So that is the craziest storm I've ever been in. The car, it was in my EF. Remember my black EF?
Yeah.
So, you know, like nothing really airs itself out all that well, so I have to crack the window. The windshield has condensation.
Yeah,
It was not a safe experience, but I'm still inside of a car, okay? I mean, yes, you can hydroplane, etc. And I remember I was on like Nitto NT 450s, which are like, for those people who remember, they're like not good in the rain. This is like 20 years ago. And it was like the rain felt like it was going to crack your windshield. But you're talking about like 7 or 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's gone.
Clear.
I'm inside of a car. So I'm only wet from sweat and nervousness because, I don't want to hydroplane.
Yeah.
It was so long ago that it's a memory.
Sure.
Okay. So I fly in and I always, kind of like Ryan had like a 4-day experience. Whenever I go to a location, whether it's for the Honda meet with Buff Ryan, whether it's for TE, whether it's whatever, MIMS Honda Day in London. I don't just go the night before, wake up, do the event, sleep that night, and then leave. I don't do that. Yeah. I do the same thing. You want to spend time with people, have a good meal, sightsee even.
Especially if they're willing to like take you around a little bit. It's like, why not?
And there's a lot of hospitality.
Yeah.
So... I did the same thing, got there a day early. Shout out to my dude, Alan. He has an Itasha wide body FRS, for people who are into Itasha. Like, we were at the airport. You guys will see this on my vlog which will be ready in a few days on my personal YouTube channel.
He picked you up? Or
Yeah,
what?
so the homie Alan, shout out to Alan. He scoops me up from the airport. He lives and works like right down the way. So shout out to him. He scoops me up, and he has this Itasha, like crazy Itasha themed wide body FRS. His rear wheels, I put this on my story, are 18 by 12 and a half, negative 59.
I think I saw
18 by 12 and a half, negative 59, and he's running like OE camber. He's not all ONI cambered out. That's wild.
Yeah.
18, 12 and a half,
On the back
negative
of an FRS.
59? The front's 18, 10 and a half, like negative 35 or something. It's like pretty gnarly, right? So anyways, but it's not just the wide body. It's the Itasha theme, all the anime. So he picks me up from the airport, and he ends up passing me before he can even like find an opening to pull up to the curb. So I'm
Right.
like walking with my bag over to meet him, and I'm getting over there, and a police officer is walking up to him, and I'm just like, I'm from California, so I'm like, oh, he's fucked. Because that's whenever we see a cop walking up to a fixed up car, it's 99.6% of the time not a good scenario.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're like, cool. But in California, you're pretty much getting a ticket or something. But he pulls up, and this, like, I don't know if it was TSA or, like, like Illinois police. But it
Yeah.
was, like, vested up. It's in my vlog. You guys got to see this. And he's like, hey, I like your car. Can I take a picture with it? And not just one. He did it on every side. Left side, the front, the side. Like, he was a you have to understand.
Yeah.
You and I would be like, this is not happening.
Right.
But it was this cop.
Did he go in the car at all?
I don't think
Or
he
it was just like outside all
It
the
was
corners?
outside, but like driver's side, on the front,
Yeah.
on the left side. Like, he was a sincere fan, and I was like,
Right.
I'm like, it's so foreign to us from California. Like,
Yeah.
they're usually not like that. So that was cool. Alan picks me up. We go to some like Euro, gyros, Euros, like some street
Heroes.
a hero, like a food spot, and we get food. Alan, and then he takes me to the hotel. He had a photo shoot with someone and another car gonna be in downtown Chicago or something. I can't wait to see that shoot. But anyway, so he dropped me off. That was my first day. Super chill, very relaxed. Homie picks you up, have some food, talk and laugh, go to the hotel.
Yep.
Next day, chill. Okay, so I know I went backwards, so let me just jump past Friday. Get some coffee, go work out in the gym, watch some Law and Order SVU, check in with everyone. Like, I like to enjoy myself when I do these trips and not just be rush.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get right back to it. It's 11 o'clock. Cars are staged. I'm on. Cars are parked. I've done the microphone. I've had the meeting. We're talking to people.
30% chance of rain.
Somebody mentions, at around 2 o'clock, there's like a 30% chance of some rain. That's the last thing I heard. The day goes, right? There's cars to be judged. I'm kind of like, dealing with the judges and making sure that's going all right. I'm on the stage, dealing with that, hosting. You guys. This was how I got introduced to what was happening. I'm inside with some of the other judges going over things. Inside. And it's not just inside these doors that lead right to where the cars are. There's like a foyer, a hallway, and then another set of doors to the convention center. So I cannot hear anything outside.
Sure.
Right? And so the way that TE does it with this location is the restrooms for all of the attendees and car show owners is indoors.
Okay.
So even though it's an outdoor event, you get to go indoors to this air-conditioned building, use nice indoor bathrooms. So
Yeah.
that's super cool. And so, of course, some people are chilling because it's hot outside, right?
Yeah.
And I look over and I see a couple of people coming in through that area, and you see spots on them.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, it's starting to rain." No one cares. And I get back to the meeting, and we're like discussing the cars, and then they're like, "Oh, it's really starting to come down now." I can just hear people, right? They're
Yeah.
like 20 feet away from me, and a couple people are walking in. They're like, dumping
Wet,
their
a lot
hat,
more
and
wet,
I'm just
yeah.
like, "Oh, damn,"
Yeah.
That 30% chance turned into rain. And somewhere, I don't know if it was me hearing it on the building or if it was like an internal alarm bell. And I'm being dramatic, but I'm actually kind of being serious.
Yeah.
I don't remember why something said you should go look outside. I'm in a meeting. It's not like we're just hanging out. We're
Right.
doing things.
Yeah, you're,
something
like,
about
working.
it. Yeah, something about it. Because people were coming in wet, but like no one was like screaming or anything. But something was like, I think you should go outside. And where we were having the meeting, I could have opened these doors that were like kind of far away and gone straight out. But where the DJ was and the microphone and where I'm used to going in and out of the building was like kind of a walk that way. So I go out of the doors into the walkway, and I think I hear like this roar, like a roar. Okay.
It's a crazy thunder.
Well, no, like the roar ended up being the water, not the thunder.
Oh,
It's
wow.
like, because it's like, we don't get rain like that in California. Not in Southern California, really. I walk to where the DJ is. No one's supposed to be inside right there because we have cords and the mixing board, the DJ's laptop, and all this other stuff. And there are people everywhere as I get closer, and I'm like, yo, what are you guys, in my head?
Yeah.
And I look, and I round the corner, and I look outside, and I'm just like,
It's just like dumping.
dude, it is full-blown torrential downpour. Like, the last time I looked outside, it was sunlight
Yeah.
and cotton puffs
Right.
in the air. Within 30 minutes of when I had last been outside, it turned into Hurricane Katrina. Okay? I'm not
So
talking...
it was windy too.
Dude, it
Shit
was
like
not just... Wow, not just rain. I'm
Yeah.
talking about the wind had already picked up canopies and launched them.
yeah.
Not toppled them.
Right.
Like they're trying to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Hard. And people are like trying to do pull-ups on their canopies.
Yeah, to hold him
to-
down.
Dude, like you're talking about a 200-pound person and it's still sliding. Meaning if it catches it at the right angle, it's going to send it.
Yeah.
Right? It's like a parachute.
Yeah.
And I look out and I'm like, holy shit. And I see people just running inside to get cover. And I'm like, wow, right? What is going on? And I look over and the canopy, okay, so
Like the main
okay, so
Tuner
so
Evo
the main
canopy
stage, we have like TE does it proper with a stage, like a fully built
with like the metal
hundreds and thousands of pounds of a
Yeah.
stage. It's not just like a canopy and they're like, hey guys, that's like the main stage. It's a stage, right?
Yeah.
And it's got a big, thick metal rigging backdrop with all this kind of stuff. We had a canopy next to it where the DJ was, but his computer was actually overheating in the ambient humidity. So he had to go indoors and get just that ambient temperature drop from just
Right.
being indoors. The DJ's computer was overheating. So he moved inside. The canopy was still there. I look outside to see people running in, and I look over and he's on. I captured this dude, and I have yet to figure out who he is. I'm sure that once I launch the vlog, someone will be like, oh yeah, that's the homie. He's got to be a local dude. But there was like this big Spanish dude. And I look over, and he, instead of running into the building like everyone else, it had occurred to him that littler, that smaller 10 by 10 canopy was gonna go.
Yeah.
And it was gonna go at a very high rate of speed.
Yeah.
Or at the very least topple and then just slide like a
Sure.
javelin.
Yeah.
Into there was like this Lexus right next to the area. Like it just wouldn't have been good, right? Because it was a 10 by 10. And he's holding on to it. And the wind is picking up because when I ran out there, I only had like 10 feet and I had already gotten, it was raining so hard, I got pretty
You were already
soaked
soaked.
just to go 10 feet. But when I got to the canopy, I'm underneath the canopy technically. So the ground's like just like starting to like the water's rising like past your shoe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, this is it's already nutty. People are not panicking, like screaming. People are laughing and having a good time, but everyone is like legit running for cover. It's not even Midwestern people who are used to it. No one was standing in that. Like it was painful to stand in it, right? So this dude's holding on to it, and I'm like run up, and I'm holding on to it with him because that dude was probably 300 pounds. I'm a big dude too, and it was still trying to go with him on one end and me on the other, and we are just like, Yeah, and you don't think.
And it has a canopy to it.
Yeah, it has a
So
backdrop
if it did
and a
get
canopy.
air, it would.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If the wind was doing upward gusts, we probably would
Or
have
if
been
it
effed.
did go sideways.
And if it went sideways, so it was. So we're close to the wall, and there's a wall, and there's like a planted trash can, and then like a whatever you call those things for like bikes. So
Oh,
we
yeah.
slid it up against that, and I was like, even with straight up hurricane thing, if we zip tied it or to these two things, it can't go anywhere. But we couldn't even do that. Like the wind was moving it, and it's like shaking. So we ended up just starting to undo the
Yeah,
Velcro
take it out,
because
yeah.
to it won't catch the wind. The minute we did that, we're exposed to the water. So I
Yeah.
was already soaked. Like my shoes were probably eventually going to get soaked. But as soon as we did that, it was as if you're standing in the storm. In 10 seconds, it's as if I jumped in a pool.
Yeah.
I mean, to my underwear, my socks, it is full blown like buckets of water.
Yeah, you
right?
were, like,
done. Within 10 seconds,
soaked.
there's absolutely no point in even trying to like care anymore. You're done. There's no part of you that isn't. Anything in my pockets got destroyed. Luckily, these super expensive phones we all have are waterproof.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like someone poured water in my pockets. I mean, you guys, it was crazy, right? So anyways, this dude helps me. We would take the thing down, we fold it over and just like shove it against this like
Yeah,
back.
just put it away.
The canopy's bent, right? In multiple places. We're trying to collapse it. The 10 by 10, I think we collapsed. I look over and the TE main booth, merchandise booth, where one of the models, Joanna, PR Beauty, was at, and then these two other tents next to it. I think one's a 20 by 20. Anyways, those things are in full blown bent disarray. Like, it's not gusts of wind. It's
It's like destruction.
like destruction, right? Any of the merch, the stickers, any destroyed instantly, right? A lot of their merch is in individual like sealed bags, so
Yeah.
those got saved.
Sure.
But you guys, I'm looking around and I'm just like, the water is like hitting. The ground is now a puddle, and the water, when you see the ground, it's not hitting the ground. It's hitting water.
Water, yeah.
And it's getting higher and higher, and I start running to help them, and you're splashing damn near up to your ankle. We're in
Yeah.
a parking lot.
Yeah.
Like, this is within minutes.
Yeah.
Okay? It was, like, sincerely the most oddly fun, chaotic scenario I've ever been in this kind of context.
Because once you're wet, you're wet.
You're done.
So then it's just like, okay,
Right,
well,
and because we're in the Midwest, it's not cold.
Yeah.
In California, we'd be shivering. But over there, it wasn't really cold. Remember, well, so when I looked up at near the end of this, which I'll get to, I actually low-key started to shiver a little bit because it went from 98 to 70.
right.
That's almost a 30-degree drop.
Yeah, and
70 is not cold.
You're soaking wet at that
Yeah.
point.
70 is not cold. 70 with 60% humidity is not cold at all. But when it was just 100, it actually felt cold.
Yeah.
So anyways, dude, the girls are running around. Dudes are laughing their ass off but running for cover. And I'm like, I run back inside to put some stuff down. And there's people who never went inside. They just went up against the doorway, and there's like
Right.
not
the
an
eave-
awning.
an eave
Yeah,
or
of
something.
like the door. It's like the doors to the building in that area are recessed. So the wind is still kind of hitting their legs, but like their body's safe. Remember, I told you about the stage. The stage it's not these little easy up arms. It's like the big ass heavy duty
Yeah,
metal.
the big aluminum
Huge
crossbars.
aluminum. Yeah. And dude, the wind sent that over. This is not light metal. This is heavy ass
Yeah.
metal. And the people who weren't inside, who were up against the doorways, when it fell towards them. And when it hit the ground, like, if anyone was underneath that, they would have been like, a 10 by 10 canopy hitting you, you're going to kind of be like, dude, what the hell? And it'll probably irritate you, maybe scratch you. Unless it's like picked up at 40-mile-an-hour gusts, it might knock you out. This stuff might crack your head open, right?
Yeah.
When it hit so loud, and I was like, oh, God, please no. Because people were right behind it.
Yeah.
But it was just like, they're pushed up against the wall, it's recessed, the rain's over here, the stage is here, and it was like,
Yeah.
and it just missed everyone. Okay, so, I mean, I'm not talking about, like, breeze. It
Yeah.
is full-blown hurricane.
Like if that fell with normal people walking around, it would have hit somebody for sure. But
Not only hit someone,
but the fact that it was raining so hard that people were kind of scurried out
yeah,
of the way,
yeah.
and then it came down.
And it hit so hard and loud, I was like, oh no, please, right? Because you wouldn't have been able to get out of the way, right?
No.
So
It probably could have killed you at that point.
it could have cracked you, broke something. So at this point, I still hear, and this is already where I started to kind of get a real like love and respect for everyone out there. You hear laughter, people talking to each other. No one is dry. If you were outside for more than 10 seconds, you're done. And people are just having a good time. So I'm already soaked to the bone. And it occurred to me that once this TE canopy was down, once the huge one, the models ran inside, we gathered up as much. Because once you're soaked, you're like, you don't care anymore. So I run back out there, and I run into Carl Wasabi from Toyo. Right? Carl runs the rig.
Carl. Yeah.
And I'm like, Carl. And so it occurred to me at some point that once everyone was safe and stuff was that could be saved, I grabbed my GoPro. It's waterproof.
Okay.
And I'm like, now what I didn't realize or remember at the moment is the external microphone that I have is not. The GoPro is, but I was like, F it, I am done. Everything in my pockets is done. I took my phone out, but phones are touchscreen, so when the screen's soaked, it doesn't function.
Yeah, you can't use it.
So it's like the phone's done, and if you look at my highlights on my IG, you can hear the sound all muffled because the whole area there was water in every crevice, right? So anyways, I grab my GoPro and I'm just like, yo, fuck it, right? So I'm like out there, like, and I hear and I realize what it is, and you'll see it in my vlog. There's a manhole cover, and it is bouncing around like someone who drops a dime on a table.
So, does that mean that the water's coming
Yes.
up? Okay.
And it's like if there was enough, it would have just flipped it, just thrown it off. But it was dancing like, you toss the dime on here, it would just be like the manhole cover.
That's great. And that's super heavy. You can't even lift those. Hundreds of pounds.
The manhole cover was bouncing like I was just like, yo, this is so wild. I bump into Carl Wasabi and he's like, we just start yelling at each other, like, it's so crazy. I was like, you don't care? He's like, fuck it, right? So I go with Carl to the Toyo trailer, and as we're walking up, I see this like Q45 on like work emits, like it was parked on the side. His windows are down, and it occurred to me that half of these cars, the people didn't even have a chance to roll their windows up.
It came on fast then.
That fast. It came out of nowhere. I mean, yes, there was a forecast. It didn't say 75% chance of Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah.
It said fucking 30% chance of rain, and that shit was not rain.
Yeah.
That was a full-blown storm. Like, okay, so
How long did the storm last?
Okay, the nutty rain, 10, 15 minutes.
Okay.
And then rain another 20 or 30 minutes.
Yeah.
The wind.
That's enough to fill up a parking lot.
But the wind was just around for like long enough to just fuck everything up. Canopies and setups and stuff. But dude, here's the thing where I got so much love for the Midwest. So I run up into the Toyo trailer, and as I'm getting over there with Carl, there's people who had climbed underneath the Toyo trailer. They had picked up the curtain part, and they're crouched underneath. Some dude was on his phone. Another dude, they were just talking to each other. No one had a scowl.
Yeah.
No, in California, people would be so pissed, right? These dudes are just, some people kind of like poker face, just watching, not angry, and other people smiling. Some person's on his phone because apparently his phone was dry. My phone was done. People are chilling, and I was like, yo, I dapped them up. Like, I got my GoPro. I'm like, you guys are gangsters. Like, you guys are chilling, and they're like, yeah, man, who cares? And I'm
and
like,
their windows are all down.
Dude, their cars are getting wrecked, right? People's hoods are up. Like, dude, what? Okay, so I go up into...
I bet hoods were like...
Dude, I'm sure, right? I go up into the Toyo rig, and Carl's telling me that, like, the awning that they have, it's not a thin awning. It's a big metal awning. He's like, that's not supposed to bend or flap. He's all, the wind was having that shit flap like it was like paper.
Yeah.
And it's heavy, hundreds of pounds.
Yeah.
And it was like just all over the place. And I was like, yo, what? So I end up walking back out of the Toyo trailer. All this is on the vlog. And as I'm going back towards the building, I see this one aisle or row of cars. And I see like 10 dudes. And all they did was angle their canopy. I guess all 10 were holding it, and it wasn't going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And they had just done like a 45 with it. So it's like at the angle of the range.
Sure.
And I go underneath. I'm like, yo, what up? And they're like, ah. Dude, these dudes are having the time of their life. Like, they're not even mad, and it's on the vlog. I just put the GoPro underneath, and these dudes, not mad, having more fun. I think they were having more fun than they were having before it started raining.
Yeah,
right?
because all of a sudden you're a kid again,
Like a kid in the rain, for sure. And I was in awe because the energy of people, nobody was bitching. I didn't hear one shit talk. People just waited. And then finally, like when the rain went from Hurricane Katrina to just like drizzle,
right?
that was enough for people to just go stand because they're already soaked. And I get
Yeah.
like, you're not going to dry in 10 minutes.
So they're just like chilling out in the
Just
rain.
went back out there, and then it ended up, like dying down. And, people are trying to figure out what's going to happen. The DJ equipment got soaked. Not the laptop, but the speakers. They're not meant to be in that. So no one wanted to plug them in yet.
Yeah.
And they'll just like fry out.
Yeah.
So the DJ's like, dude, and these are big, humongous speakers. They're not cheap ones. So anyways, we're all trying to figure that out. I'm like starting to shiver. And then because I'm indoors, there's air conditioning.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I'm going to get sick, right? So I just ran up to my hotel room. By run, I mean I walked. I didn't actually run. Go up, take a shower, and I come back out in sweats, like joggers, and a hoodie, right? My black hoodie that you'll see in the vlog, for those, because I got straight up messages like, yo, what the hell are you doing in a hoodie? It's a lightweight hoodie, but nonetheless, I was like, I'm not trying to get another pair of shoes destroyed. So if it starts raining again, at least I'm in pants, right? Mm-hmm. And the hoodie, to cover my head. And I needed to feel warm. Dude, I went up to my room. It was still overcast.
Yeah.
And the rain was nice and just timid.
Mm-hmm.
I go up. I take a shower, put on my clothes. I'm doing this in a hurry because
come back and
I go outside. There is not one cloud in the sky, and the sun is beaming. I opened the blinds of my hotel room, and I'm just like, it is so gorgeous and clear outside. I was like, what the hell is this? I go back downstairs.
What time was this at that point?
4.
Okay.
The whole thing within 30, 45 minutes, and I go outside, and you would never even know because the ground's drying.
Yeah.
Right? You wouldn't even know what just happened, except I get back to the venue, and there's obviously almost no canopies. The arrangement's kind of a little tweaked out. Only like 2 or 3 cars left. Everyone else stayed and was like, when are you guys going to turn the music back on? People were down. And we just commenced the show.
Because they didn't get their whole show out of it. So then they were like,
dude,
can we just keep going?
They just wanted to chill. And that's why I said it like 10 times on the mic when I was with you guys over there. Dude, like the people over there having a blast. Nobody gave a damn. I don't know how much carpet was damaged of the interiors of people's cars. People with up pipes on turbos. Like how much water pooled in your up pipe.
Yeah.
Or anything. Anyways, people were like, whatever. We have TE does, for those of you that have never seen a vlog of mine or attended a TE, they do like a full-blown production. There's b-boy dancing, there's competitions, there's like a full shebang. It isn't
it's a lot more than just a car show.
Yeah, it's a production, it's an event, right? That's why I think people like it so much. The dancers got there when it was raining, so they were just inside, and I don't know if they're just like, oh, we're not doing this. Once it cleared up, they went and like wiped down the like faux floor where they're gonna do their moves, and they just went at it. We commenced the show and just went and had a blast. Ended up doing the awards. When I was doing the awards at the end of the day, I'm saying, hey, whose shoes are still squishing and whose cars are dude, people are raising their hands. I'm still soaked because it's humid. It doesn't want to dry. No angry attitudes. There are people who are tired, people who are sunburnt, but as far as attitudes, I caught nothing, man.
That's crazy.
Everyone having a blast, dude.
Yeah.
And we just had a good time. Then the event happened, gave the awards, everyone, thank you, and people start to go, and it just ends up being like a wonderful ending as if none of that happened.
Yeah.
And that's all in one day.
Do you think that they're just like used to that, or do you think they were just like, God, I'm so glad there's a show finally, and I'm just down to do it?
That was the first major.
It happens.
That was the first major event in that area since all the stuff, right?
Yeah.
In 2021, so people were happy about that. But I asked you, John Kruger.
Name rings a bell, but I'm not sure.
Okay. His Anomaly Bunka.
No.
Okay. I think you know who it is by car.
Okay.
Anyways, he was in the Toyo booth. VIP build. I was asking him and a couple other people. Royce RB4TA, him and Andrea, Red NSX, came from
Oh
Wisconsin.
yeah, I
He
met.
came
It's one of
down.
your friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we talked to him, and basically they were just like, dude, like we're used to crazy weather, and yeah, that was a little much, like wind wise,
Yeah.
but like, it's beautiful now, and I'm just like, dude, I love you guys. Everyone over there in the Midwest, big salute. Had a great time. And then I looked, so it occurred to me later to look at the weather forecast because one of the things that I like to do whenever I'm in Chicago, and TE usually picks like the perfect time of the year, is if the weather's good, I do one of the architectural boat tours on the lake or the river. And it's like, I'm going to be honest with you. I've been there for 4 or 5 years now, and I've done it 5 times. Because one year I couldn't do it. The next year I did it twice in the same weekend.
Oh wow.
I did it like Friday night and Sunday night because it's like 74 degrees and it's like 40% humidity. It's perfect.
But you're out on the water.
You're out on the water. It's not humid at all. The breeze is lovely. And the city of Chicago, in that like 2 months, 2.5 months out of the year where the weather is nice, dude, unbeatable. So I've done the same damn architectural boat tour, not just because you're on the water on a boat and looking at the city, but the history of Chicago after the Great Fire, how they built it, this architectural firm, the first female to build this, Art Deco here, like new style there. Like, it's so fascinating, man. And I do it every year. And what ended up happening is two of the people who always attend the TEs, they're locals to Chicago. They've been at all of them. I became friends with them because of the car scene. They got married during the event in another part of Illinois. That's the only reason why they weren't at the event. They planned with me the next day to pick me up. So they had their reception Saturday night. Sunday, they pick me up and we go and do a sunset architectural boat tour.
That was
and
their honeymoon.
I'm with them.
Third wheel.
I'm third wheeling with people who've been married for 12 hours. Okay? All right? And they were like, dude, we love it. So it was us three. Now,
Nice.
I would like walk to a different part of the boat at times.
Yeah.
So they can be husband and wife while watching the sunset in Chicago on the water. I wasn't just like, you know what I'm saying? But they're cool. They're cool. We went and ate. So a dude named Chef Alvey, he's a part of one of the crews out over there. He is a follower and a fan. Nice guy. He's a chef. He recommends like X, Y, and Z restaurant. And shout out to all of you guys that DM me on my personal IG about restaurants that you would suggest in and around that region. I ended up going to this Asian spot in downtown called Sunda New Asian, and Alvy's the one who suggested that. Really cool fusion food, Filipino, Japanese, Thai, Chinese, kind of like hipster-esque, but Asian base.
Sounds right up my alley.
Pretty cool, pretty great food. And then we went and did the boat tour, and then shout out to my friend Mike and Nicole, who just got married. They took me back to the hotel, and it was just really cool to be able to do that. And then the day Monday when I was leaving, Chef Alvy picked me up, and we ended up not Nashville style hot fried chicken sandwiches before going to the airport. So just a ton of hospitality, and good energy, good vibes, and the car equality. I mean the style, the variety of the builds from VIP to race to show. Was super cool. And so all in all,
it was good quality cars.
Yeah, I mean it's diverse, right? And that there's a whole Euro section, like wild golfs and caddies, and just man, really gnarly cars. There was a super cool like Millennium Jade FD-RX-7. There were John Kruger's his Infinity at the Toyo booth. This like crazy wide body S2000, a green one with a K series with a super shaved up engine base. So see how what I'm talking about? Like those are all very different. Euro RX-7 with a rotary, not like an LS or something, and then Miata here S2000 Infinity. Just super cool, man. So I'm sure that there was a lot of for real damage, like that's gonna be a financial hit.
Car that actually got like
no one said anything about that other than water getting in the windows. I didn't hear anyone talk about hood bending or damage or waterlogging this. Everyone drove out of the event. So nobody complained. Everyone had a good time. A dude in the crowd, I caught him. I saw him and I realized that he was like super huge. And I was like, bro.
Oh,
Like,
I think I saw the
on my
thing.
story, he's 6'11".
Yeah, you had him come up and stand
Well,
next
I
to
didn't
you.
have him come up. He just came onto the stage, but I thought it was funny, so I just made the most of it. And I was like, all right, we're gonna take a picture together. And I was like, yo, I'm not gonna angle the phone up. I'm just gonna take it. So I took it, and it's my face. I'm holding the microphone. It's my face, and it's this fool's sternum. Like you see his like collarbone, none of his head. He's 6'11".
Yeah.
That dude is huge.
Yeah, he looked huge.
He was huge. So he plays D1 basketball, and on the stage I was talking to him, and he's an aspiring NBA player. He's trying to make it, so shout out to that dude. His girlfriend was in the crowd. And that's just an example of what I'm talking about. These people they're white, so they're just like burned, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are burned. People are like, I'm like, how many people's socks are still soaked and their shoes are squishy? 30% of the crowd. No one was mad, dude. Everyone was just making the most of it. So Chicago, greater Chicago area, Schaumburg, Wisco, all the people that came from all over the place. You guys are amazing. That Midwest trip was amazing for multiple reasons, from hanging out with newlyweds, chefs, cars, Hurricane Katrina Part 2, Drivers Project Part 2, Hurricane Katrina Part 2 in fucking Chicago, dude.
Sounds like it.
It was, dude, it's amazing. I mean, just, it's just, we have these.
And it's not even that far from each other. Really.
No. If the event I was doing was on Sunday, and the main thing for Turn Pit and Paddock was on
could've,
Saturday,
in theory, just
it's
drive
like a
over.
2-hour flight or a 5-hour drive. I totally would have, just to support Ryan and Turn and Sam at Pit and Paddock. But we ended up having these two crazy cool events in different ways, different styles, different regions, and once again, it's just like a super cool blessing to be able to be a part of such cool events and people, and get to know more people and become closer with people we already knew and stuff like that, So, Midwest, East Coast, Turn, TE, those are the two things that we were a part of in this week. Yeah, I'm heading out to Orlando. I'm going to New York and Philly coming up.
Nice. What events are those?
So there's TE Orlando. I'm actually heading to New York for Sevens Day.
Oh, yep.
Just decided, F it, I'm just going.
That's
and
cool.
then the end of July, which actually I don't even know when we're going to drop this episode, so I might actually be in Orlando when this drops.
Okay.
Or something like that. But anyways, guys, so Sevens Day, big shout out to Prime. Both Prov and, Yo Ito on IG and Provzilla. Those are the guys who make up Prime NYC. They're the ones who do a variety of things over there, including Sevens Day.
Okay.
They were on the Think Bigger podcast, my podcast, a while ago. We actually filmed that in the New York Times building.
Okay.
Super cool.
Nice.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna link up with them and with possibly Dave Tormey from Can I Beat, the twins, Christian and his brother, and a few other people I know, Rob, just whoever, and just go and enjoy Sevens Day. It's always looked like a super damn cool event.
So you'll know a lot of people there then. It seems
I'll know a handful.
That's good.
I'll know a pretty decent handful. So, anyways, guys, so there's more to come. We'll recap, the next things, and we've got some other stuff coming up. So, we just wanted to shout out and recap those different areas and regions and events that we were a part of. And we'll on the next episode we'll have other ones.
Yeah. It's cool being able to re-talk about it.
Yeah.
And then it locks it in your memory a little bit
For
more.
sure,
Too.
for sure. Very memorable. So big shout out to Daryl at Turn, Sam at Pit and Paddock, and all that team for making Ryan's crazy event that once again, guys, look that up because I'm sure the coverage is going to be stupidly epic.
Yeah.
And same thing on my personal YouTube channel. My vlog should be dropped. By the time this Car Talk episode drops on our YouTube channel, go to my YouTube channel and you'll see the vlog. It was nuts. You'll see the sun, and next thing you know, crazy storm. Next thing you know, sun again, and everyone's having a blast. So shout out to the Midwest and everyone there. And look for that coverage, guys. So thanks for supporting Ryan and myself here, listening, giving us your valuable time for Car Talk. And if you have any suggestions on subjects,
Yep.
as
we
always,
need them. We need
put them in the comments. We will read them and respond. And Ryan,
I think it's about that time.
it's about that time, my friends. We appreciate you. We'll see you on the next episode of Car Talk.